What if you could finally stop wasting your energy on people who don't value you and start commanding the respect you deserve? What if, in just a few minutes, you could learn the one mindset shift that would make people regret ever taking you for granted? What if today became the day you stopped chasing validation and started living unapologetically on your own terms? This isn't about being liked. It's about being respected. It's about reclaiming your power and stepping into the life you were meant to live. By the end of this video, you won't just feel different, you'll be different. Ready to stop playing their game and start creating your own? The world doesn't care about the excuses you've been telling yourself. The respect you want, you'll never get by chasing after it. The power you feel like you've lost is waiting for you to take it back. And the life you want to build? It's not going to happen until you stop begging for approval and start owning your worth. This video isn't about sugarcoating reality. It's not about giving you feel-good platitudes or pretending everything will magically get better. It's about giving you the cold, hard truths that every man needs to hear, but most will never face. Because if you want to be the kind of man who commands respect, who lives on his own terms, and who doesn't settle for less than he deserves, you need to start making changes now. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. From breaking free of the validation trap, to setting boundaries like a leader, to reclaiming your focus and dominating your own path. This is your roadmap to becoming the man you were born to be. Here's the deal. If you're ready to stop being overlooked, undervalued, and underappreciated, stay with me till the end of this video. Drop a comment right now that says, "I choose respect over approval," because today is the day everything changes. Number 1, don't chase validation. Chasing validation is the single most unattractive thing a man can do. It's the fastest way to lose respect, not just from others but from yourself. Let's break it down. What happens when you seek validation? You hand over your power. You give someone else the authority to decide your worth. That's weakness, plain and simple. And weakness doesn't attract respect. It repels it. Here's what society doesn't want you to know. They've conditioned you to chase approval from childhood. You've been taught to be the good boy, to make everyone happy, to avoid conflict, and to bend over backward for a pat on the head. But the truth is, that mindset sets you up for failure. It's a scam, and you've been played. Picture this. You're in a relationship, and your partner starts pulling away. Maybe she's less affectionate, maybe she's texting less, or maybe she's suddenly too busy. What do most men do? They panic. They start texting more, calling more, doing anything they can to fix things. And what's the result? She pulls away even further. Why? Because desperation kills attraction. But here's the kicker. It's not just about women. This applies to every area of your life, your friendships, your career, your family. The more you chase validation, the less you get it. People respect strength, not neediness. Chasing validation is the ultimate display of neediness. So how do you break free from this trap? Start by flipping the script. Instead of seeking validation, focus on self-respect. Ask yourself, are you living in a way that you respect? Are your actions aligned with your values? If the answer is no, then it's time to make a change. Because the moment you start respecting yourself, others will follow suit. Here's a harsh truth. Not everyone will value you, no matter what you do. And that's okay. Your job isn't to make everyone like you. Your job is to be the best version of yourself, regardless of who's watching. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. And when you attract from a place of strength, not neediness, that's when the game changes. Number 2, recognize the warning signs. The first step to reclaiming your power is awareness. You can't fix what you don't see. Let's be real. Most men ignore the warning signs when someone stops valuing them. Why? Because the truth is uncomfortable. It's easier to pretend everything is fine than to face the reality that you're being taken for granted. Let's talk about those warning signs. Maybe they're subtle, a shift in tone, a lack of enthusiasm, an unexplained distance, or maybe they're blatant, cancelled plans, unanswered calls, outright disrespect. Either way, the signs are there. You just need to open your eyes. Take a moment to reflect. Have you ever felt like you were giving your all to someone only to get the bare minimum in return? Maybe you're always the one initiating conversations. Maybe you're always the one making plans. Maybe you're always the one compromising. And what do you get in return? Excuses, indifference, silence. People value what they have to work for. If you're the one constantly putting in all the effort, you're teaching them that they don't have to. You're teaching them that your time, your energy, your attention is cheap. And let me tell you, cheap things are easily discarded. Recognizing the warning signs isn't about blaming others. It's about taking responsibility for your part in the dynamic. Ask yourself, are you tolerating disrespect? Are you giving too much? Are you ignoring red flags because you're afraid of confrontation? If the answer is yes, it's time to wake up. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're in a relationship and your partner starts canceling plans last minute. The first time you let it slide. The second time you make excuses for them. By the third time you're starting to feel resentful, but you still don't say anything. Why? Because you don't want to rock the boat. But here's the thing, by staying silent, you're teaching them that it's okay to disrespect your time. And once they see that, the behavior continues. Recognizing the warning signs isn't just about identifying the problem, it's about deciding how you're going to respond. Are you going to keep tolerating disrespect, or are you going to set a new standard for how you're treated? The choice is yours. Number 3. The power of stepping back. This is where the real magic happens. When someone stops valuing you, the most powerful thing you can do isn't to chase, beg, or argue. It's to step back. Let me say that again for the men in the back. Step back. Why is stepping back so powerful? Because it shifts the dynamic. When you step back, you're no longer playing their game. You're no longer feeding their ego, no longer chasing. And when you stop chasing, something incredible happens. They start noticing your absence. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're always available, always the first to text, always the one making plans, always bending over backward to make them happy. What happens? They get comfortable. They start taking you for granted. Your presence becomes predictable, and predictable things are easy to ignore. Now, imagine stepping back. You stop texting, you stop calling, you stop initiating. Suddenly, they're left wondering what's going on. Why haven't I heard from him? Did I mess up? That's the power of absence. It forces them to confront what life feels like without you. But here's the catch. Stepping back isn't about playing games. It's not about manipulating someone into missing you. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about redirecting your energy from them to yourself. It's about saying, I'm no longer going to invest in someone who doesn't value me. I'm going to invest in myself. Let me tell you, that shift is life-changing. When you step back and focus on yourself, you become stronger, more confident, more grounded. You stop needing their approval because you've found your own. And that's when the dynamic changes. That's when they start noticing what they've lost. That's when they start chasing you. But here's the thing. By the time they come crawling back, you might not even want them anymore. Because when you truly invest in yourself, you realize that your worth was never tied to them in the first place. You were always enough. You just needed to see it for yourself. The next time someone disrespects you, instead of reacting, step back. Take a deep breath, focus on yourself, and watch what happens. Trust me, they'll notice your absence, and more importantly, you'll notice your own power. Number 4, invest in yourself. When was the last time you truly put yourself first? And I don't mean watching TV or scrolling on your phone. I'm talking about real, intentional self-investment. The kind that changes you from the inside out. The kind that makes you wake up every day feeling like a stronger, better version of yourself. Here's the truth. The world doesn't reward mediocrity, and people don't respect a man who neglects himself. Investing in yourself isn't selfish. It's survival. If you're not growing, you're dying. Plain and simple. But here's the problem. Most men pour all their energy into others. They bend over backward for relationships, sacrifice their time for people who don't appreciate them, and put their dreams on hold to make someone else happy. Then they wonder why they feel drained, stuck, and unfulfilled. Let me break it down for you. When you invest in yourself, you're telling the world and yourself that you matter. You're saying, I'm worth the effort, I'm worth the time, I'm worth the energy. That message is powerful. It changes the way you see yourself, and it changes the way others see you. Start by asking yourself one simple question. What would the best version of me look like? Not the man you are today, but the man you know you could be if you stopped making excuses. Maybe he's fitter, stronger, more disciplined. Maybe he's financially secure, emotionally stable, and living with purpose. Number 5. Set boundaries like a leader. Let's talk about boundaries. Most men cringe at the word because they've been taught that setting boundaries makes you difficult, selfish, or unkind. But here's the reality. Boundaries aren't walls to keep people out. They're guardrails to protect what matters most: your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. If you're not setting boundaries, you're setting yourself up to be walked all over. Let me ask you something. How many times have you said yes when you wanted to say no? How many times have you let someone disrespect you because you didn't want to cause conflict? How many times have you put up with behavior that made you uncomfortable just to keep the peace? Every time you do that, you're sending a message: my feelings don't matter, my time doesn't matter, my standards don't matter. And guess what? People believe you. Here's the harsh truth. If you don't respect yourself enough to set boundaries, no one else will either. Boundaries aren't about being rude or confrontational. They're about being clear and firm. You're simply saying, this is what I need, and I won't accept anything less. Setting boundaries starts with knowing your non-negotiables. What are the things you absolutely won't tolerate? Maybe it's constant lateness, disrespectful language, or emotional manipulation. Whatever it is, write it down. Get clear on what matters to you, because if you don't know your boundaries, how can you expect anyone else to? Next, communicate your boundaries confidently. Here's the key. Do it with actions, not just words. Words can be ignored, but actions demand respect. If someone disrespects your boundary, don't argue or explain, just enforce it. For example, if a friend keeps canceling plans last minute, stop making plans with them. If a partner is consistently disrespectful, have the courage to walk away. Your boundaries are only as strong as your willingness to enforce them. But here's where most men struggle. They're afraid of losing people. They think, if I set boundaries, they'll leave. And maybe they will. But here's the question you need to ask yourself. Do you really want people in your life who only stay when they can disrespect you? Because that's not love, that's convenience. The truth is, boundaries don't push the right people away. They attract them. When you set boundaries, you show people that you value yourself. The people who truly respect you will rise to meet your standards. The rest? Let them go. They were never meant to stay. Number 6. The absence effect. Here's something most men don't realize. Your presence is your power, but your absence is even more powerful. People don't value what's always available. They value what they fear losing. If you're constantly present, constantly giving, constantly chasing, you're teaching people that they don't need to value you because you'll always be there. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who always showed up for everyone. He was the first to help, the first to text, the first to make plans. At first, people loved him for it. But over time, they started taking him for granted. They stopped showing up for him. They stopped appreciating his efforts. Why? Because his presence became predictable. One day, he decided to do something different. He stopped texting first. He stopped showing up uninvited. He stopped giving his time to people who didn't value it. You know what happened? People started noticing. They started reaching out, asking where he'd been, wondering why they hadn't heard from him. His absence created a void, and that void made them realize what they had taken for granted. This is the absence effect in action. When you step back, you create space for people to feel your absence. In that space, they're forced to confront what life feels like without you. It's a wake-up call, a reminder of your value. But here's the thing, you can't fake it. You can't step back as a tactic to manipulate someone into chasing you. That's not the point. The point is to step back for yourself, to reclaim your time, your energy, and your focus. To stop investing in people who don't invest in you. Here's the best part. When you step back, two things happen. Either they realize your value and step up, or they don't, and you realize you're better off without them. Either way, you win. Number 7, embrace unshakable confidence. Confidence is the one quality that every man knows he needs, but most struggle to achieve. The reason? You've been taught the wrong definition of confidence your entire life. Society tells you confidence is about being loud, flashy, and dominating every room you walk into. But here's the truth. Real confidence is quiet, calm, and unshakable. It's the kind of confidence that doesn't need validation because it comes from within. So, what does unshakable confidence look like? Imagine walking into a room and not feeling the need to prove yourself to anyone. You're not the loudest guy there. You're not bragging about your accomplishments or trying to impress people. You're just present, calm, composed, and secure in who you are. That's the kind of confidence that turns heads, and it's the kind that lasts. But how do you get there? It starts with one simple realization. Confidence isn't about what you have, it's about what you believe. You don't need six-pack abs, a six-figure income, or a fancy car to be confident. Those things are nice, sure, but they're external, and external things can be taken away. Real confidence comes from knowing your worth, regardless of what you have or don't have. Think about the guy who's always showing off his car, his job, or his lifestyle. At first glance, he might seem confident, but dig a little deeper and you'll realize his confidence is fragile. Take away the car, the job, or the lifestyle, and what's left? Nothing. Now, compare that to the man who walks into a room with nothing to prove. He's not flashy, but he's grounded. He doesn't need to show off because his confidence comes from within. That's unshakable confidence. So, how do you build it? Start by keeping promises to yourself. Confidence is built through action, by showing up, doing the work, and proving to yourself that you're capable. Whether it's hitting the gym, learning a new skill, or tackling a tough challenge, every time you follow through, you're telling yourself, I can do this. And the more you do that, the more confident you become. Number 8, stop over-explaining. Over-explaining is a sign of insecurity. It's what happens when you feel the need to justify your decisions, your boundaries, or your standards to people who don't deserve an explanation. And let me tell you, it's one of the fastest ways to lose respect. Why? Because every time you over-explain, you're giving away your power. You're telling people, my opinion matters more than my own. Think about it. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where someone questioned your decision and you started rambling to explain yourself? Maybe you said no to a plan, and suddenly you felt the need to give a detailed reason why. Or maybe you set a boundary, and when they pushed back, you started justifying it. What happened? Did they respect you more? Probably not. In fact, they likely respected you less because your over-explanation made you seem unsure of yourself. Here's the truth. Real men don't over-explain. They state their decisions clearly and confidently, and they let their actions do the talking. If someone doesn't like it, that's their problem, not yours. But how do you break the habit of over-explaining? Start by practicing silence. The next time someone questions your decision, resist the urge to explain. Instead, simply say, "That's what works best for me," and leave it at that. If they push for more, repeat yourself, "That's what works best for me." Trust me, the more you practice this, the more confident you'll feel and the more respect you'll command. Over-explaining doesn't just make you look insecure, it drains your energy. Every time you waste time justifying yourself to someone who doesn't deserve it, you're taking energy away from the things that really matter. So stop. Save your energy for people who respect you enough to accept your decisions without question. And for everyone else, let your silence speak for itself. Number 9. Cut the dead weight. Let me ask you a tough question. Are there people in your life right now who are holding you back? Maybe it's a friend who only calls when they need something. Maybe it's a partner who doesn't support your goals. Or perhaps it's a colleague who constantly undermines you. Whoever they are, you know deep down that they're dead weight. If you want to grow, you need to let them go. Cutting people off isn't easy. It's uncomfortable, it's awkward, and sometimes it feels downright cruel. But let me tell you something. Keeping toxic people in your life is far more damaging than letting them go. Because every time you tolerate their behavior, you're sending a message to them and to yourself that you're okay with being disrespected. And that message has consequences. Think of it like this. Your time and energy are limited resources. Every minute you spend on someone who doesn't value you is a minute you could be spending on your goals, your growth, and your happiness. So why are you wasting it? Why are you pouring your energy into people who don't pour it back? Imagine you're trying to climb a mountain and you're carrying a heavy backpack full of useless stuff, things you don't need, things that don't serve you. How far do you think you'll get? Not very far. Now imagine taking that backpack off. Suddenly the climb gets easier. You can move faster, breathe easier, and focus on reaching the top. That's what it feels like to cut the dead weight from your life. Here's how you do it. Start by identifying the people who are draining you. Who are the ones who make you feel worse, not better? Who are the ones who take but never give? Set boundaries. Let them know what you will and won't tolerate. If they can't respect your boundaries, walk away. No explanations, no apologies. Just walk away. But here's the catch. Cutting people off isn't just about them. It's about you. It's about choosing yourself over the people who don't choose you. It's about creating space in your life for the people who truly value you. And it's about sending a message to yourself and to the world that you're not here to settle for less. Take a hard look at your life. Identify the dead weight. Set your boundaries and start cutting. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Because when you let go of the wrong people, you make room for the right ones. And that's when your life truly begins to change. Number 10. Reclaim your focus. Let me ask you something. How much of your time do you spend thinking about things that don't really matter? Maybe it's a woman who isn't giving you the respect you deserve. Maybe it's a friend who's always taking advantage of your kindness. Or maybe it's a situation at work that's draining your energy. Whatever it is, here's the truth. Every moment you spend focusing on things outside your control is a moment you're wasting, and wasted moments add up to a wasted life. Let's break it down. Your focus is your most valuable resource. It's what allows you to achieve your goals, grow as a person, and create the life you want. But if your focus is scattered, if you're constantly distracted by other people's drama, opinions, and disrespect, you'll never reach your full potential. Why? Because you're giving away the one thing you can't afford to lose: your attention. Think about this. How many times have you stayed up late replaying a conversation in your head, wondering what you could have said differently? How many hours have you wasted scrolling through social media, comparing yourself to others? How much energy have you spent trying to fix relationships with people who don't even appreciate your efforts? Now, imagine what your life would look like if you took all that time, energy, and focus and redirected it toward your goals. Imagine the progress you could make, the skills you could build, the success you could achieve. Reclaiming your focus starts with one simple decision: stop giving your attention to things that don't deserve it. If it's not helping you grow, let it go. If it's not aligned with your goals, walk away. If it's draining your energy, cut it off. It's that simple. But simple doesn't mean easy. Reclaiming your focus requires discipline. It requires you to say no to distractions, even when they're tempting. It requires you to set boundaries, even when it's uncomfortable. And it requires you to prioritize yourself, even when others don't understand. Here's how you do it. Start by identifying your top priorities. What are the things that truly matter to you? Maybe it's your career, your health, or your personal growth. Whatever it is, get crystal clear on what you want to achieve. Take an honest look at how you're spending your time. Are your actions aligned with your priorities, or are you wasting your focus on things that don't matter? Unfollow people on social media who make you feel less than. Say no to plans that don't align with your goals. Stop giving your energy to people who don't respect you. Because when you reclaim your focus, you reclaim your power. And that's when your life starts to change. Number 11. The art of subtle detachment. Detachment. The word itself might sound cold or distant, but detachment is one of the most powerful tools a man can have. It's not about being emotionless or uncaring. Detachment is about finding freedom. Freedom from the need for validation, freedom from the fear of losing people, and freedom from the pressure to constantly prove yourself. When you master the art of detachment, you become unstoppable. Here's what most people get wrong. They think detachment means not caring. But the truth is, detachment isn't about not caring. It's about caring the right way. It's about loving, working, and living with your whole heart, but without being controlled by the outcome. It's about giving your best to every situation, but not letting your happiness depend on how things turn out. Imagine you're in a relationship and you're constantly worried about whether the other person is going to leave. You're overthinking every text, every conversation, every interaction. You're so focused on keeping them happy that you forget about your own happiness. That's not love. That's fear. And fear is the opposite of detachment. Now, imagine a different scenario. You're in the same relationship, but instead of worrying about the outcome, you focus on being the best version of yourself. You communicate clearly, set boundaries, and give your all. But you don't let your happiness depend on their actions. If they stay, great. If they leave, you're still okay. That's detachment. And that's freedom. Detachment isn't just about relationships. It's a mindset you can apply to every area of your life. Whether it's your career, your friendships, or your personal goals, detachment allows you to stay grounded and focused no matter what happens. Because when you're detached, you're no longer controlled by external circumstances. You're in control of yourself. But how do you develop detachment? Start by shifting your focus. Instead of worrying about what you can't control, focus on what you can. Seek approval from yourself, not others. Let go of outcomes. Trust that whatever happens, you'll be okay. Detachment requires you to let go of fear, insecurity, and the need for control. When you master it, you gain something far more valuable: peace of mind. And in a world full of chaos, peace of mind is priceless. Number 12. Dominate your own path. This is it, the final step, the ultimate goal, the one thing that separates average men from extraordinary men. It's time to dominate your own path. And I don't mean dominate in a way that's arrogant or aggressive. I mean dominate in a way that's confident, purposeful, and unapologetic. Here's the truth. If you don't take control of your life, someone else will. Think about it. How many men spend their lives following someone else's script? They go to school because they're told to. They get a job because they're supposed to. They settle down because it's expected. Before they know it, they're stuck in a life that doesn't feel like their own. But here's the thing. You weren't born to live someone else's life. You were born to create your own. So how do you dominate your own path? Start by taking responsibility for your life. Stop blaming other people for your problems. Stop waiting for someone to save you. Stop making excuses. The moment you take ownership of your life, you take back your power. And with that power, you can create the life you truly want. Next, get clear on your vision. What does success look like for you? Not what society says it should look like. Not what your friends or family think it should be. What do you want? Maybe it's building a business, traveling the world, or mastering a skill. Whatever it is, write it down, make it real, then take action, because a vision without action is just a dream. But here's the catch. Dominating your own path isn't about doing it alone. It's about surrounding yourself with people who support your vision, challenge you to grow, and push you to be better. And it's about letting go of anyone who doesn't. The truth is, you can't dominate your path if you're constantly carrying dead weight. Finally, remember this. Dominating your own path isn't about reaching a destination. It's about enjoying the journey. It's about waking up every day and knowing that you're living life on your terms. It's about looking in the mirror and feeling proud of the man you've become. And it's about leaving a legacy that you can be proud of. So stop waiting, stop doubting, stop holding back. The path is yours to create. The time is now. And the man to do it is you. Imagine if you woke up tomorrow and stopped chasing the validation of people who don't even deserve a seat at your table. Imagine if you walked into every room with unshakable confidence, knowing you didn't need to prove yourself to anyone because your worth isn't up for negotiation. Imagine if the distractions that used to drain your energy vanished because you reclaimed your focus and started channeling it toward your goals. How much stronger would you feel? How much more respect would you command? How unstoppable would you become? Now picture this. The people who once took you for granted start noticing your absence. They feel the void of your energy, your presence, your power. But by the time they come crawling back, you're too busy dominating your own path to care. You're busy building, growing, evolving, and living life on your terms, not theirs. How would that feel? That's what this video has been about. Not fixing them, but transforming you. You're not here to beg for scraps of respect. You're here to own your value, set your boundaries, and create a life that's so extraordinary, people have no choice but to respect it. And it all starts with a decision to stop settling, stop chasing, and stop giving your time and energy to people who don't deserve it. But none of this will happen if you don't take action. Watching this video means nothing if you don't apply what you've learned. So here's your challenge. Start today. Set one boundary. Reclaim 1 hour of your time. Take one step toward the man you know you're meant to be. Because every journey starts with a single step. And your journey starts now. And finally, if this message hit you, if it woke something up inside you, Then do this. Comment below, "I am ready to reclaim my power," because that's your declaration to the world. Hit the subscribe button, because this is just the beginning. When you subscribe, you're not just supporting this channel, you're joining a brotherhood of men who refuse to settle for anything less than greatness. Together, we're creating a movement of strong, unapologetic, unstoppable men.